Okay, SMX Facts Time. We bring in the statistician, Clinton Fowler. Clinton, JT, and I hit on this briefly toward the top of the show. Potentially both titles could be clinched this weekend at Unadilla.
Yeah, it looks like we're here for Championship Saturday. Should be some amazing racing. In the 450s, Jet Lawrence just needs 3 points to clinch the title. Technically, there's 3 other riders in contention: Hunter Lawrence, Eli Tomac, and Justin Cooper, JT. But Eli Tomac and Justin Cooper are pretty far back and don't look like they're in contention. 3 points isn't a lot, JT, but man, 2 motos, anything can happen, just what we saw last week.
It can, and my mind goes to what Jet Lawrence would have to do to that starting gate for him to not get 3 points this weekend. That's immediately where I went. But yeah, it feels like this is going to be the second time in 3 years that Jet is handed a #1 plate at Unadilla. And honestly, when you look at his body of work over this summer, rightfully so, he has been outstanding.
And then the margin is actually a little better for Deegan, right?
Yeah, Deegan actually has a little bit more control here. He's got a 51-point lead over Joe Shimoda. He could lose 1 point, so he could technically go 2-2. Joe Shimoda could go 1-3, and he clinches the title. But again, anything happens, especially when we're in a place like Unadilla, I think, as you guys were talking about. And Joe Shimoda has shown, JT, an ability to actually beat Hayden Deegan pretty straight up.
Yeah, and this is a good track for Joe. And let's factor in, he did hurt himself at this race a year ago. But I think historically, it's a track that works well for him in the ways that we talk about. Ken Roczen rides well here. Dylan Ferrandis rides well here. I think that fits for Joe. Riding style, RPM levels, the way they carry momentum all seem to work in the favor of Joe Shimoda. And now the question is, can he take that to the race and take it to Hayden Deegan, who looks to be back to 100% form?
Yeah, our next stat, this surprised me. So we've been talking quite a bit. If Deegan wins out here, wins these final 3 races, he's got 1 of 3 down. He would go ahead of Jet Lawrence on the all-time 250 motocross national wins list. This other one, this Yamaha stat, I did not know about this. Explain this.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously beating Jet, I think, would be enough motivation for Hayden, but here's another one. Hayden could be the winningest small bike Yamaha rider in the history of pro motocross. He's got 13 wins. Brock Glover and Jeremy Martin have 14 wins. So a win this weekend ties him with those guys for the winningest pro motocross Yamaha small bike rider. And if he then won in Budds Creek, he would take #1 spot. So pretty cool. Just added motivation, JT, for a guy like Hayden Deegan to go out there and win.
Yeah, I think Hayden really likes these records. He wants to kind of vault himself into that historic category, because when you get up here, you know, there's ego involved, there's legacy involved. And I think he's looking around going, hey, I have done some pretty historic things in this 250 class as I'm about to exit it, and those should be noted. So, you know, like, there's a championship on the line. There's the racing in itself. He wants to win Unadilla, but these records and these stats do matter, I think, to riders like Hayden and Jet and all the riders of this category or caliber.
Yeah, what I love about it in the small bike classes, they know it ends. They know they're leaving, and they're not going to probably come back and get more. The 450s, it's always like, well, I'll win 5 more next year, or the next year. That doesn't usually happen. But in this case, Hayden knows he's only got 2 more 250 pro motocross races in his career to get these stats. And then he's got to move to the 450s like the previous champion, Hunter Lawrence, did. We also visited this earlier in the show, how impressive his consistency has been. Give us some numbers on this win and what he's done before that.
Yeah, we talk about consistency. 20 races into his 450 career, they've all been top 5, so that's pretty impressive. But the overall win is where I really go, and that overall win, he's one of 4 riders to have been on the podium 10 plus times before getting it. Kind of an illustrious, he's probably pretty happy to no longer be sitting on that podium, not at the top. And you look at it, you think about it, you look at this list, Chad Reed is up there with 27 podiums before he got that. Now, JT, I think the big difference here when I look at these other 3 riders took 4 or 5 years, in the case of Jason Anderson, 8 seasons to get that overall win. Hunter Lawrence has done so in his sophomore season, so he seems like a contender and is going to be here, especially as we come up on SMX Championships.
It does, and this feels like who Hunter is as a person. The way he approaches his racing is playing out in the results column, right? Never too high, never too low, always there, just kind of relentless, figuring things out. And I've compared him to like a velociraptor where he's always just angling, he's figuring the situation out, he's always learning. And the next time he shows up, he's going to be just maybe 0.5% better than he was the last time you saw him. And to see him finally get this win, we talked about it being inevitable, just kind of how it felt, because if you're continually getting better and you're learning, which he is doing every single time out, he'll learn something about where he could have been better. Eventually things are going to go your way and he's going to get this win. So again, kudos to Hunter, and this just feels like the way it was supposed to go for him.
Funny to see that 27 races took for Chad Reed to get a win, or 27 times on the podium before one of them was a win. But he was stuck racing against James Stewart and the winningest rider ever, Ricky Carmichael, a lot. But if you're Hunter, you're going to say, I had to race Chase Sexton and I had to race my brother, and they're really good too. So I don't know, Clinton, there's no way to quantify that part.
Nope, it's tough. And you know what? Jet Lawrence and Chase Sexton, we may be talking about them in the future as some of the top 5, 10 all-time riders as well. So it might end up being the same comparison for Reedy.
That's right. All right. Thanks for the stats, man.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, just about ready to wrap up this episode of SMX Insider. I'll tell you where, when, and how you can watch the broadcast over the weekend. Everything will stream live on Peacock or that 80% off SMX Video Pass if you're outside the United States. Race day live at 10 o'clock Eastern time Saturday morning. That's an hour of qualifying coverage. And the motos, as always, start at 1 o'clock. We'll have a halftime show. We'll have a live post-race show.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all. News, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.